back of my mind, I did think, what if they didn't want me because they don't want a visibly pregnant woman on a primetime show on Saturday night? Of which, by the way, in 2004, you didn't see many
No, I was going to say.
pregnant women on sort of Saturday night shows. I hadn't remembered myself at that time seeing anybody. I'd given birth 6 weeks prior to that series starting.
Whoa.
I went back 4 weeks in and I had a 6-week-old baby. And that was no mean feat because I was a new mother. I'd had a cesarean. My idea of hell will be having entitled children.
Yeah.
I do not want spoilt brats. I want humble girls who are grateful, who are kind, working hard. That's all they know, really. I mean, that's what we know.
I'm really sorry.
No, I just love you with your shoes off on your sofa, chilling out. Why not? It's the best way to be, right? At work.
Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Happy Mum, Happy Baby, the podcast. Today's a little bit different because we're doing this at my house, but I have an amazing guest who only lives up the road, so it made much more sense than schlepping into town. Today's guest is a presenter, and she has been the presenter of Strictly Come Dancing for the last 21 years. Absolutely incredible. She is the co-owner of an amazing swimwear brand. She's an author. She's also the mother of 2 women, 2 young ladies. Tess Daly!
They are almost, well, one of them is a woman, you're right.
One of them is.
Thank you for having me, honey.
It's a pleasure.
In your house,
Thank you
so comfy on
much.
your sofa.
I know. I
chilling
feel like
out.
I've gone too far into the
No, it's
relaxed
lovely.
vibes. I might as well have my pyjamas on, to be honest.
So relaxing. Thank you. I'm
How are
enjoying it
you?
already. Yeah, I'm good. I'm
Yeah?
good, yeah.
You're in
really
the
good.
thick of it already.
I know, yeah. It's just quite nice to sit down for a moment. Yeah, and not be wearing high heels and running at speed. Yeah, no, it's great. Actually, though, it's always great fun. It's such a fun show. You know.
I know,
Your
but
Tom's
I've
been on
also
it.
seen you going here, there and everywhere
Yeah.
in that studio.
Cover a lot of space.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know. I reckon if I did the steps, it would probably be about 40,000.
Well, I imagine
heels.
a little watch wouldn't really go with any of your outfits that you're wearing, so you can't really
I
track
can't
them
wear
properly.
it. No, that's the problem. But yeah, I would be interested to know. But no, it's always a giggle.
Really? I love
So
that.
much fun.
And the girls are now so much older.
It's unreal. I mean, Phoebe's 21 in October, and she's like a visual reference of how long when I started at Strictly, I was pregnant with her. And Amber's 16. So yeah, both of them were in my stomach during the series.
Wow.
Dancing away.
Were you visibly
To the theme
pregnant
tune.
with either of them?
Yeah, I was actually. And it was funny because I remember when I first got the job on Strictly, and I remember I was pregnant. I was newly pregnant with Phoebe, 2004. And I didn't tell them that I was pregnant because I thought, well, there were 2 reasons why I didn't tell them. One, I thought they might not give me the job.
Yeah.
2, I thought, well, actually, it's really early on before you tell anyone. I've not even told my own mother yet. It was sort of 8-9 weeks, I think it was. You know, that phase before you tell anyone because you want to be sure and you tell them at 12 weeks. And so I didn't tell them. I thought, well, I'm not going to tell them before I tell my own mother. Doesn't affect my ability to do my job. And, you know, at the back of my mind, I did think, what if they didn't want me because they don't want a visibly pregnant woman on a primetime show on Saturday night? Of which, by the way, in 2004, you didn't see many
No, I was going to say.
pregnant women on sort
Yeah.
of Saturday night shows. I hadn't remembered myself at that time seeing anybody. So I said, yes, please, to the job. I'd love to work with Bruce Forsyth. This sounds wonderful. A program about dancing and celebrities. It sounds nuts. I'm in. And then I remember the first time I met everybody, because that was sort of a yes before. Then we had a press conference. So that was the first time I sort of met the team, met Bruce. And I had a little bump then and was visible because that was quite a few weeks later. And there was I with my little bump. Surprise.
Did you have to say something at that point?
Yeah. I said I'm pregnant. And nobody minded, and it was absolutely fine. And then that was series 1. We had 2 series in 2004, that very first year.
Oh, wow.
2 series in the first year. Short series to start when I was pregnant, sort of to test the water. It was about a 6-week series. And then we had another series at the end of the year. And I'd given birth 6 weeks prior to that series starting.
Whoa.
And when it went back at the halfway point, it was an 8-week series. Now, of course, we do like a 13-week series. 8 weeks. I went back 4 weeks in and I had a 6-week-old baby. 6 weeks to the day since I'd given birth. I went back. And that was no mean feat because I was a new mother. I'd had a cesarean, so you can work sort of 6... Yeah. Timing-wise, it worked out really well because you can work 6 weeks after having a cesarean, which is a pretty major operation.
Yep.
And that's when I went back to work. But it was pretty daunting in the 6 weeks since giving birth, becoming a new mum, not knowing what I was doing, not sleeping very much, recovering from the cesarean, and knowing I was going back to work.
Also, having that in your mind, that whole 6 weeks. Of, you know, if you think about when you've just given birth and how awful you feel, but in 6 weeks, I need to be on
Yes,
it. You know, not just turning up to work.
That's right.
Like, it's prime time.
I know.
BBC.
I need to be controlling the leaking breast milk, not on live television. I need to be expressing and pumping like a pro. But I remember, actually, on one occasion, it wasn't Strictly. It was a different live TV show that I was doing. And it was a one-off special, like a fashion special. And I remember I was breastfeeding at the time, and we were going live, and I hadn't had time to like express. You know, you've got to express the milk and get it out. And I remember talking to the producer. It was about an hour to the live show. I had like one of those hairdresser ponchos on over me, having to express at the same time as making notes with the producer about the show that was coming up after the dress rehearsal we'd done. So I did this. I only had time to do like one boob. Didn't have time to do the other one because we were going live. And I remember going live on air thinking, oh my God, one boob is... You know, when it goes like
the
hot,
letdown,
and it goes, and you know and you're going to start lactating. I remember we were live, and I remember they were counting into the ad break, and I was thinking, oh my God, I'm leaking breast milk. So, and I could feel the heat, and then coming out, and I could at the floor and by my feet there was a little puddle of milk.
No.
I was live, but I was wearing a black dress, so nobody knew.
Oh,
nobody could tell but
gosh.
me. But I was speaking to the camera and linking into the ad break and knowing that this was happening live, thinking, oh my goodness, I can't believe this is actually happening to me, but I've just got to keep talking into the break. I can't stop talking. I can't apologise for it. I can't look down. I've just got to go. And I did. And yeah, that happened to me live because I didn't have time to express the milk before we went live because it was such a busy work day.
Kind of going down the barrel, not looking.
No.
But knowing
tried not
happening.
to look, but just feeling like this little drip, drip, drip. Yeah. That was...
Have you ever seen it back?
Daunting. I did see it back and you couldn't tell. Yeah. But it was at the time I was like, I just didn't know what to do, but I just had to carry on.
Oh, gosh.
Show must go on, no matter what.
Did you tell people that it
daunting.
happened?
Yeah, afterwards I was like, I really needed time to do that before we went live. But when you're on a live show, it has to go.
Yeah.
You can't wait for anyone.
Yeah.
It's scheduled at that time. And so, yeah, that was wild. That was tough.
But that's the thing, you know, you're a new mum at that point. Your body is doing what it's going to do. You can't control it.
No.
And so many women would be in exactly the same position.
Of course, that you're going back to work. You're trying to do the job you've always done. But you've become a mother in the meantime.
Yeah.
And a lot has changed, but you're just trying to negotiate. You're trying to deal with the new you and you're just trying to accommodate the baby, your job. You still want to work, but you want to be a mum and you're just trying to make it all, you're trying to make it all work. And it's sort of through trial and error, really. We just get through it, don't we? Because we have to.
You do. But you also don't want anyone to think differently of you.
No,
you know the whole, you don't want anyone of the mum now. You don't want to be dismissed,
right?
Because of this other role that you have. You are still the same person. You've just got leaky boobs at this point, or you're not.
Yeah,
you're
you
not
still want to do the things that you did before you became a mum
that
you enjoyed doing. So you just try and get through it as best you can.
Absolutely. I reckon so many people have probably leaked in inappropriate places.
Yeah, I'm sure. And it's at the time it's kind of like you're embarrassed. You're oh no, I don't want anyone to see this. But sometimes it just happens, and you just got to get through it and get on with it.
I have not thought about the letdown and that heat for many years.
Yeah,
but just talking about it just kind of makes me go, I know exactly what that feels
remember
like.
right back there. Yeah, it's happened to us all.
Yeah,
just maybe not on live telly.
How did you juggle the sleep?
The sleep was the hardest part for me.
Because Phoebe didn't sleep for 3.5 years.
Exactly. Honestly, it was so hard. And that's why there's 4.5 years between my children, because you cannot contemplate having, welcoming another baby into the mix if the first one's not sleeping.
Yeah.
You can't do two simultaneously not sleeping, because how could you get through the night? And yeah, she didn't sleep for 3.5 years. She just kept waking up. She'd wake up 2 or 3 times a night, and then she'd go through the phases of becoming a toddler. So I'd hear the little feet running down, pitter-patter down the hallway at night, knocking on the door. She learned how to use a baby monitor as soon as she could talk. She'd push it and say, "Hi, I'm awake. Can I have a bottle?" Like it was room service, And she soon sort of worked her way out of that. They get out of the cot as soon as they can walk, and they're so wily and they find their ways.
Did her sleep get better when she could get out of her cot or out of her bed?
It took about 3.5 years before she slept through the night. 3.5 years.
It
was rough.
So hard.
I remember going to work sometimes, and I remember being so tired that because I hadn't slept, just sitting on the sofa in my dressing room and thinking, someone would knock on my dressing room to come and get me and take me to the studio floor. And I think, okay, I've got to psych myself up now to get off this sofa, because I can't physically stand up. I don't mean woe me, poor me, but it was sometimes really tough, because being up all night and then having to go to work was hard, Yeah.
I bet the only thing that actually, well, obviously it's the job, but also the adrenaline must have really helped.
The adrenaline was my friend.
You are going live. There you go.
Adrenaline was everything, because adrenaline's like rocket fuel. It just surges through your system and kicks everything else to the curb, and you are ready to go. And yeah, that absolutely got me through. It was brilliant. But yeah, I remember once being so tired, crawling off that sofa on my hands and knees to the door, because I couldn't walk. I could not walk. I was so tired. And I thought, how am I going to do it? And then I thought, I will do it, because the adrenaline will kick in and I'll be okay. And I was. It was hard. And then when the second one came around, Amber, she literally, I had a no tolerance policy for sleep deprivation at that point.
Really?
Well, and I was older as well. I was 40. I'm like, it was harder then to work without having sleep. I just knew I couldn't go through that again. Yeah. But she was a dream. She literally, from 3 months, slept 12 hours through the night like a little angel. Yeah.
I always think the worry is if that happens the opposite way round. If you start with a sleeper and think, I am so good at this parenting thing.
I know.
Like, pat me on the shoulder.
Yeah.
And then the second one comes along and you realise it's nothing to do with you. It's them.
It's them.
Yeah.
But, I sort of did, you do learn things. I learned to sort of settle her before leaving the bedroom, so that she wouldn't be asleep when I left the bedroom, so that I was there with her and she would fall asleep. I'd settle her and soothe her and give her a little blankie or a little cuddly toy, and that would be her comfort. And so I learned to leave the bedroom. Like, this is a great sleep tip for new mums, I think. If you rock your baby to sleep, or if you're there when your baby falls asleep, when baby wakes up, which is an inevitable 3 or 4 times through the night, they will cry for you if you're not there, because you were there when they fell asleep. So they're like, where's she gone? Yeah. But if they fall asleep, if you've said night and you've made it all positive, the bedtime routine, and they have their little comfort blanket or their little toy to snuggle into, to pull in as a comfort when they wake up, if they fall asleep then without you there, for me, this is what worked. When they wake and you're not there, it's okay, because they fell asleep without you there in the first place. So for me, that sort of them learning to sleep settle themselves really helped.
Yeah.
Because, it kind of makes sense, doesn't it? If they can do that and comfort themselves when they wake up, of course they're going to cry, they're going to get hungry, and they're going to need you, and you're going to go in there during the night, no matter what, especially in the early months. But that, for me, I think that was an eye-opener, is just teach them to self-soothe so that they can self-settle when they wake up. I got so into the whole sleep thing, having been on the rough end of it,
That's the thing. If it's gone one way for so long, you've literally been having to drag yourself into the studio. You don't want that again.
I know. So that was hard. That was hardcore. And I'm strong, I'm fit and healthy, I like to think. But it almost brought me to my knees, that lack of lack of sleep, being up 3 or 4 times a night. It was rough. But she's a dream now. She sleeps beautifully.
And that's all that matters.
Now she's 20.
Tess, I'm going to leap you back
Yes.
to your childhood. What was it like?
Do you know, it was pretty idyllic, really, because it was myself, my younger sister. She's 3.5 years younger than me, Karen. And mum and dad, loads of love. Just, you know, I just remember running around in the fields, having loads of freedom. My mum would let us play out as we did then, and she'd call us in for tea time. And it was just, there was a lot of love, and it was just I had a pretty uncomplicated, happy upbringing, really.
Were you up in the Peak District, is that right?
Yeah, in the Peak District, yeah.
What a gorgeous place to be.
It's really, really pretty. Lots of fields to play in. Yeah.
You had the whole, I can remember the rumours of this around school. You were scouted for, you know, the whole thing of when people were walking down Oxford Street or something, and people were like, someone stop me. That actually, you actually got scouted for modelling.
That did happen to me. I was in Manchester shopping with my sister, because that's sort of our nearest biggest town where you go for your big shop if you had a big night out on a Saturday. And I got scouted. Someone came up to me and sort of gave me like a leaflet for their model agency and said, come and see us. And I just stuck it under my bed and forgot about it. And then I was studying. I had a lot of free time at that time. And I remember one day I had a day off and I was bored, and I reached under the bed and this pamphlet came out into my hand, and I thought, oh, going to Manchester, I'll go and see them. And I went to see them, and then that was it. Within about 6 weeks, I was in Japan. I was only 17.
The thing I find
I can't
amazing
even think about that now. I've got kids.
Like Phoebe, that's Amber next year.
I mean,
kind of going,
I
I'm going to
literally
Japan.
cannot contemplate it. No wonder my mum and dad fought me. They were like, you are not going. I said, I am going. No,
Well,
you're not.
especially then, like now, if one of the girls went, they would have their phones.
I know.
They'd be able to contact you all the time.
That's it. And nobody had mobile phones then. So I was going to this, completely different foreign environment halfway across the world, didn't have a mobile phone. I remember my mum had arranged to call me like every week on a Thursday at 7. And I had to be in the room at that time, because if I couldn't be there, I couldn't let her know, because we didn't have mobile phones. But it was an incredible experience. And I was so young. I mean, I literally cried myself to sleep, I think, for the first month. I made a little tally chart so that I could mark off the days, because I was like, I'm so homesick. It was hard. I'd never cooked for myself. I'd never done anything for myself at that point. I was having to sort of fend for myself, find my way around, lots of different cities in Japan where nobody spoke English. I had to get trains, the bullet train, 3 hours across to the south of, Japan.
I've heard you say that with those, you would only know, you'd have to time the journey so you'd know when to get off.
Because the announcements were in Japanese, the names were in Japanese, so there was no English translation anywhere. So I couldn't look at the name of the the only way I knew which station, when I would arrive at my station, was by setting my alarm clock, because those trains were famously on time. The bullet train. Yeah. And just hope for the best when I got off that it was the right stop, because, it was wild. It was an adventure.
But having done that, now that you have, you have Phoebe and Amber, how would you feel? Like, does it make you look back at 17-year-old you differently?
Yeah, definitely, because I think we had to grow up quicker then. I think we sort of have parented our children for longer, in a way. Like, when I was 17, I thought I was fully able to travel the world, and having never left, like, literally Britain at that point. And I just thought, I just think, I don't know, I think we started doing stuff earlier then. I think now we parent our kids later. They live with us later and longer. Then it was expected you'd leave home at 20. Yeah. Now kids stay with us for longer, I think. Practically, because they can't afford houses. Yeah. They have to stay with us for longer. Yeah. So I cannot imagine my own children doing that at 17, because I sort of feel like I survived despite the pitfalls, if you know. I mean, there were, but ultimately it was a wonderful experience, because, I was living as a local, I was traveling, I was having to find my way around. It was sort of a crash course in life experience. And I loved it ultimately, and then ended up traveling the world for the next 12 years. But it was quite a lot at that young age, I suppose. But then I went from crying every night to then making friends and loving it and not wanting to leave, and then crying when I was leaving 3 months later.
So funny, isn't it?
And that taught me a lot about resilience. So I was like, you thought it was, to start with, you were crying out of loneliness. 3 months later, you were crying because you didn't want to leave, because you met the most wonderful people, immersed yourself in the lifestyle and the culture, made friends, and had the best time. And it really taught me that, you've got to keep at things, because I wanted to run in that first month. I wanted to run home, but I didn't, because I'd, fought my mum and dad to go in the first place. So I had to prove to them that I was able to do it. I felt like that. That's what I had to do. And so I stayed it out, I stuck it out. And then ultimately it was wonderful. And so I thought, wow, something that I thought was so awful in the beginning could completely turn around 360 and become the best experience of my life. Yeah. That taught me just to stick at stuff, because if you give up, had I given up and left, then I wouldn't have known just how brilliant it could be, And so that taught me resilience for the rest of my life. So, yeah.
As a parent as well, though, I wonder if that's kind of also that lesson of having to let your children go off and do those things, and how they might be the most amazing thing in the world, and how they might, instill so much and inform so much as they become, adults and stuff. But it's that letting go. I wonder if we also know too much now as parents. Everything is full of fear. Yeah. And that whole thing of kids staying at home, part of that is also us kind of going, and we're safe here. Yes.
Very true.
I wonder if that's also... but there's an amazing freedom in that sort of, however many decades ago. Yeah,
many decades ago. It was great. I mean, because of kind of that wealth of experience I felt I gained from travelling the world and living in different places, I would like to encourage now my own kids to do a little bit of that.
Really?
I think it's such a great experience.
Do you think they will?
I hope so. I mean, I don't want them going for long or forever. Don't get me wrong. Just dip the toe in and come back.
Well, I can remember when Vernon did the podcast. I think Phoebe was going to Reading for the first time. Oh, yeah. So he was also going to Reading to park himself somewhere and go, I'm here.
Yeah, I'm here if you need me.
So I can imagine you two going, yes, you go off travelling, and then you two having your own backpacks.
I know.
Just standing,
Honestly, I'd still be super, super nervous, because we are sort of, like you say, we're so overprotective now, aren't we? We do cover them in cotton wool a little bit. Sometimes I tell myself, step back, let them find themselves, let them find their way, because otherwise they're having to second guess every decision they make. If we make all those decisions for them, how can they find their own way? So it's that fine line, really, isn't it? And that's what I have now, because I've got young women that I've parented, and so I have to find that life, walk the tightrope of giving them enough advice, sharing my own sort of knowledge and wisdom, what I've learned along the way, but also not wanting to step on their toes and sort of over-inform them. It's tricky, isn't it? Because you do want them to find their own way.
Yeah, you do. I've read so many different things as well about taking the risk out of our kids' life, and the whole, they have to learn how to risk assess for themselves, because actually we're doing them a disservice by constantly removing the risk.
Exactly.
Or saying, be careful, don't do that,
right.
don't do that.
Yeah.
Actually, they've got to try certain things to realise that either how to do it safely, or that it's something they just don't want to do.
And that's something I think it's so important as a parent, that we don't make things too easy for them, and we don't swat them in cotton wool too much, because they have to develop resilience. It's vital. They're going to need it. And they also need to, they need to find their own way. They need to have that drive, I think, to find their own way. Yeah. That want, what is it that I want to do? What makes me happy? What is my drive? And they need to sort of find that. And often I think they shadow the parents. They see if the parents have, for me, for example, my mum worked throughout our childhood. And so I don't know. I think you tend to repeat what you know. So for me, it was a no-brainer to work as well. And it was what defined me. I enjoyed my work. I didn't want to stop doing it. But I also wanted to be, the best mum I could be, and be there for everything that my children would possibly need me for, I didn't want to miss out on anything. But I just, I think they do. Obviously, they learn by default. They mirror a lot of our habits. But I think one of the most important things we can teach them as parents is find your own way. Find what makes you happy, find what makes you tick. And so we can't do everything for them. We can't make it sort of too easy for them, because we will remove their drive. They have to want to earn their own money. They have to want to get out there in the world. So they have to want to do that.
Is that something that you and Vernon have really consciously thought about? Because obviously both of your upbringings are very different to the upbringings that you've been able to give your girls. But with that, you know, have you consciously thought, well, we have to make sure that we're not saying yes to everything, that we are kind of putting in those boundaries, that just because our lifestyle is different because of your jobs, that you are able to instill.
I wouldn't dream of spoiling my kids.
Yeah.
I do not want spoiled brats. I want humble, good girls who are grateful, who are kind. You know, you can't, if your child, for me, my idea of hell would be having entitled children.
Yeah.
Like, that's the worst thing. It's not good for them. It's not good for you. So, you know, we've always sort of taught them the value of money and of working hard. And that's all they know, really. I mean, that's what we know. Mm-hmm. That's where we come from. We've worked hard. I've been grafting since I was 17 years old.
But that's what I mean. Because you two have worked so hard.
Yes.
You know, just because you're in this position now, you haven't always been. You've worked hard to get here.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
it didn't come easy.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't handed on a plate.
No.
And so they see that as an example, and they see, you know, it's, you know, the whole sort of working mum thing for me is, and I'm sure every other working mum agrees, it's the juggle, it's the struggle, it's the wanting to work but it's not wanting to leave your kids, it's the mum guilt, you know, that comes with that as well. And just trying to always balance that out and sort of be there and not miss out on any, you know, any of those important occasions that you want to be there as a parent. Like, I've never missed a sports day in my life. I've never missed a carol service. I've never missed a school play. I couldn't. That's more important than anything to me, you know.
Yeah.
Because
well, Gabby Logan said about you, when you did Midpoint with her, she said that she feels like you are happiest when you are doing the mothering things.
I am.
When you're with your girls.
That is my most fulfilling role.
Yeah.
It absolutely is. And that is what, you know, I define myself as a mother. It's the most important job I've ever had. And everything else, I think, just it does fade by comparison because, you know, these people depend upon me.
Yeah.
And you want to give them the best chance, the best start you can, and you want to be there for them. And yeah, I've loved being a mum. Like, for me, my happiest times were at the school gates chatting to other mums. I'm just like a sponge soaking up everything they know. Give me your sleep tips. Okay, well, you know, just those mums throughout every stage of me being a mum have, at the school gates, they've become my best friends. I'm still best friends now. My tightest circle of girlfriends are school mums I met when our kids were 5.
Yeah.
And our kids are still friends. And we're best friends now because we've been, you know, friends for 15 years. And we go on holiday together. I built a business with Gail. We built a swimwear brand together, Naya Beach. We are, you know, we are tight because we've been through every stage in our kids' lives together.
Yeah.
You know, whether that's when they become teenagers, whether it's just GCSEs, A-levels, choosing universities. We've been through this together. And I you know, being a mum, I love it. I love being a mum. Yeah.
But the mum friends thing's really interesting because I feel like it's a really gorgeous time in life to scoop up new friends.
Yeah.
You know, and you're all going through something. It doesn't matter what you do.
It's such a level playing field.
It so is.
We've all got the same concerns. You know, it's just, we have so much in common. It's just like immediate bonding. So, you know, I would go earlier to school gates. I go earlier for pickup. And I didn't want to miss school pickup because I knew that was valuable interaction time with other mums. And I'd get so much from it because I'd get information about, I might have missed something that was a hockey match on Tuesday that was kind of, I was like, oh my God, imagine if I'd missed that hockey match. You know, because you can't ever drop the ball, can you?
You can't
ever.
Is that how you kind of deal with mum guilt, is just to make sure that everything is in the diary? So at least those things, you know that you're going to those things.
Yeah, I was fanatical always about like kind of making a note of everything. And because you've got to be organised, you know, you have to plan stuff around them because it's like parents' evening. I remember they would always the school would always let us know about parents' evening 5 or 6 days before. And I'd be clutching my head going, oh gosh, I can't believe it. I've got a job. What am I going to do? But I can't miss parents' evening. It's once a year, you know. So it was, it's always been a juggle. And I think that's the same for every working mum, isn't it? It's the same for every mum, full stop. You know, every mum is juggling. But I think the one thing we have in common is the most important thing, the biggest priority in our life is our kids. Yeah. And I love it. And that's why I'm here, because I love talking about parenting.
Well, did you know you always wanted to be a mum?
No, not when I was traveling the world. I sort of knew that, you know, I had subconsciously knew I would be. And I always wanted two girls, I suppose, because I come from two, me and my
so
sister from
funny.
two girls.
Yeah.
That's what I always wanted. I mean, so subconsciously, yes, I sort of parked it because I was too busy travelling the world and having a lovely time, living all over the place, working in the fashion industry, worked as a model then. And so I kind of had a nomadic life, and it didn't really suit that life. I was, and then I think, when I met Vernon when I was 30, perhaps. Yeah, 30, 31. And then I kind of met someone who made me think it was a possibility. And and then that was it.
That just
Soon
totally...
it was. Yeah.
And then when you decided to start thinking about a family, is that something that you talked about early doors, about the fact that you both wanted to be parents?
No, not really. Didn't plan it, just happened.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But I suppose then, had we been together a couple of years, 2 or 3 years? Yeah, I suppose the time was right, I was like 32 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did you feel when you found out you were pregnant?
I was delighted. Yeah, God, I was thrilled to bits. Absolutely thrilled. Didn't find out the sex of the baby, wanted it to be a surprise. And when she was born, I remember the obstetrician lifted her in the air and said, "It's a pink one." I'm like, "What do you mean pink? Is she pink? Is she okay? What do you mean the colour? What?" I was confused, I'd had a cesarean C-section. I was very confused. It was quite a lot. "He's a pink one." Yeah, like he meant it's a girl. So I was thrilled when it was a girl.
But the thing that you two had is that Vernon's been vocal about the fact that he would have quite liked a boy first, in his mind, to kind of protect the family.
Right. Yeah, and play ball sports with him. But yeah, he wouldn't change a thing.
No,
of course,
absolutely not.
When you get what you get, you would never change it.
No,
you absolutely would not. And second time round, I was convinced it was a boy. I don't know why. I just was not craving the same sugary foods.
Yeah.
In the first pregnancy, all I wanted was donuts. I remember going to the Krispy Kreme counter, and the guy would give me a whole box. He would see I was pregnant. I'd ask for one, and he'd give me a box of 12. And I go, "Thank you." He said, "You need these." I literally lived on donuts for the.
So he gave you the idea, and then from then on, you were constantly buying a box of 12.
And it was okay, just give me 12. But then with the second pregnancy, it was the baked potatoes. I was craving potatoes, chips, anything. And so I thought, it's definitely a boy. And so then I found out the sex, and it was a girl again. So I was, delighted.
Did you find out the sex in that pregnancy?
Yes, second time round did.
What was the difference that time round? What made you kind of go, actually, we're going to find out?
Just because I don't know, I wanted to know. The first time round, I wanted it to be a surprise. Second time round, I was like, I want to know if it's worth keeping all of Phoebe's clothes.
It's so true when you're sorting out the nesting.
Exactly. I'm folding things. Again and again, I'm piling things up. Am I going to need all the pink stuff? So I thought I might as well find out, and did. And so, it was the girl again. So
how did you feel heading towards the birth the first time around? Because was it a planned C-section?
Yeah.
So that kind of took away any of the
I had a sort of minor medical condition at the time so the obstetrician recommended I have a C-section, which I did, and it was fine. Mm-hmm. But you don't realise at the time that it is a major operation, and you are sort of you can't drive for 6 weeks, can't carry anything heavier than your baby for 6 weeks, and so second time round I was determined. I was told there was a 70% chance of me being able to give birth naturally, because following a C-section, that is the percentage success you can give birth naturally. And so when the obstetrician told me that, I thought, okay, 70%, that's pretty high odds on going with it, because I don't want to be in hospital for it's not 5 nights now, it's like 2 or 3 nights with a baby, with a young child at home. It's not convenient to be in hospital.
That's the thing, you constantly think about the first one then, don't you?
There's another one who needs me.
Yeah.
As well as, I don't want to be it's not practical for me to be in a hospital
feel like
bed.
That guilt of being a mum to multiple, at that point, the thought of not being with your firstborn.
Exactly.
When you're in hospital with your second,
that was
weird.
daunting. I was like, I can't be in a hospital bed. It's too much I've got to do at home. I thought, okay, these are good odds. I'm just going to go with it. And I was just determined that I was going to do it naturally, and fortunately did.
How did you feel heading into that birth? Was it exciting, kind of going, oh, this is going to be a little bit different to the first time round? Yeah,
I was just determined that I was going to do it naturally, because I was determined not to have an operation unless it was absolutely necessary. And I was determined to be going home later that day with a baby. and not still be in hospital. So that was my drive. I thought, I need to get back. You know, there's lots going on at home, and I just, if I can, I will.
Yeah.
And I did.
Can you remember Phoebe meeting Amber for the first time?
Yeah, it was the sweetest thing. I mean, that bond between, you know, sisters, I remember I was a big sister, so I remember that bond and looking after your little sister. And they've always had that. They are so close. And from that first day, she sort of took her under her wing, was so gentle with her and so nurturing. And because she was already sort of 4.5, she was, you know, she was old enough to have her sat on her lap and sort of cuddle her and cradle her. And it was that, yeah, that bond was just gorgeous from the start. It just touches you as a mum to see that. And it's been lovely. And she's looked after her little sister ever since.
That's so
Yeah,
gorgeous.
she's the best big sister. I'm always telling her that.
Oh. Well, it must be weird now. I mean, I know this is quite the jump, but the fact that Phoebe is a young woman, that she's off now doing her own thing.
No, it's wild.
You know, Amber's getting to the age now where she's kind of thinking about what she wants to do next.
She's 16.
Yeah, so how is motherhood now, and how is it weird looking back at where you were and kind of go, wow, what a whirlwind? Do you feel like you've been spat out the other side?
Yeah,
of that?
it's incredible, isn't it? I remember when they were little and everybody would say to me, oh, it goes so fast, enjoy them. Enjoy this stage when you're pushing them around in a buggy and you're holding their hands and they're walking, having a little tantrum in the supermarket. Strangers would say, enjoy it, love. It goes really quickly. And I think, yeah, okay, I hope so, because this is the tantrum phase in the supermarket and it's a bit awkward. But it does go so fast, you know. And it amazes me that sometimes the girls like to look at the photos on my phone from when they were little and they go back. And Amber was doing an art project recently and she was doing photographs of herself and her sister through the years, you know, as they were growing up. And you look back at these photos and you think, that was 9 years ago. And now they're well, one is grown up. I was going to say almost grown up. And it's amazing how quickly it goes because you don't feel any different in yourself. You know, you're the same person, really. And here they are, they're looking you in the eye now and they're like grown-ups giving you advice. And it's wild how it just goes full circle, really. You know, Phoebe's like my best friend now, she feels like. It's crazy. Even yesterday, you know, your phone pops up videos from, I don't know, it was just like 6 years ago. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, she was young then. Look at them, they're tiny. And yeah, it goes so quick. I can't believe it. But you've got to get through the teenage years first, obviously. And that's quite challenging.
How are they?
I remember sort of 16 was a tough year, 15 to 16. I think at that age, girls tend to test your authority a bit because they're finding themselves. Yeah. And so, yeah, I remember being tested a lot at the 16-year-old phase. It's just a learning curve, really. We learn as we go, don't we? And we find our way, I suppose, as much as they do.
But also with bits like that, kind of realising that it's a developmental thing. It's nothing to do, you've not lost your child, they will come back.
Yeah.
But it must be so hard in those moments to kind of go, take a deep breath. This is a for now thing. It's not a forever one.
Well, that's it. And you've just got to think, they are under hormonal arrest right now. You know, their brains are full of chemicals they cannot control. We've all been there. And so, yeah, you've just got to remember that and sort of take a deep breath sometimes and step away. And just think they will come out the other side.
Yeah. Do you think the teenage years were the toughest ones?
Definitely. Definitely. Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
I'm not even there yet.
Yeah. You know that saying, bigger kids, bigger problems?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the teenage years are the toughest. I do. Yeah, it's quite nice coming out the other side of those. Yeah, with one child at least. Yeah, because you're being tested more, I think.
Yeah.
It's not about sleep deprivation, but it's about big picture stuff. It's about, you know, they are finding their way. They're finding their way in life. And so they're often finding it via you. And so they will often go head to head with you and your views and your opinions. And because that's what happens at this stage in their life. They are, you know, it's a wrestle for control sometimes. And you just have to teach them gently and sort of lead them in the right direction and hold the hand as much as you can.
There's got to be so much, though, that's out of your control. I feel like when they're younger, you have more of a say on things.
You do.
You have,
Well, no, it's
your play
it's
dates.
your way or nothing.
You have,
Well, no, it's
your
your
play
way or
dates.
nothing.
Well, and also play dates, right? It's a mum that you like with
Of
a child that they
course.
hopefully get on with, and you get to have a nice
Yeah.
time with them.
Oh, I love
Whereas
play
when they're
dates.
older,
I loved play dates.
you can't say who their friends are.
No, of course.
And so as much as you would like to influence them in a really positive way, you don't know where these outside influences are coming from.
Yeah, and you're driving a lot further for those play dates and you're dropping them off and going back again.
Yeah.
Like literally, my other job is mum's cabs, as is most parents.
Yeah.
I remember my dad saying that to me because my mum didn't drive. Dad's cabs. And it's true. That is like my second most important job after being a mum and then a taxi driver. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. And I just, I welcome all the cycles really because it's just part of the cycle of life, and of being a parent and seeing them go through that journey themselves.
Yeah.
And all you can do is love them really and respect them and just guide them as gently as you can through it. Because we've all been through it ourselves.
Absolutely.
It's not easy being a teenager.
No.
Especially now.
It's scary, that part of it. The fact that now everything is so...
Visual.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's visual and you're accountable and there's a record of everything online. I remember Phoebe saying to me the other day, gosh, Mum, you were so lucky growing up when you could just go out dancing in nightclubs and nobody was filming you. Because nobody was. Nobody had phones then. So there's like no record of it.
I used to take up one of those, those cardboard photo, the cardboard cameras.
Do you remember those? You get them developed at Boots.
Yeah, but you'd only have one photo of each thing, and even then you'd forget it was in your bag. Most of the photos were just from the loos. Where you go, come on, girls!
Exactly.
Whereas now it is different.
Yeah.
And I wonder if for some young people that kind of makes them, I don't know, be less carefree.
Well, they have to stay level-headed and keep, despite all of that, it's sort of, I think for them that's another hurdle to negotiate.
Yeah.
For sure it is.
Yeah.
But you teach your kids as best you can to, to deal with that, to have the resilience to deal with that. And, we're all learning as we go, really. Mm-hmm. Because that's an ever-changing landscape.
Yeah. One thing you have always been amazing with is talking about health and wellness and fitness and body image in a way that's really, really positive. Having two girls, two women, do you worry about that outside influence? Because I know when you were a model and younger, you'd have people sort of putting their 2 pence.
Of course.
As well, when you came back from Strictly, you said about people maybe judging your baby weight.
Right.
You know what it's like to have those voices.
To be
but
judged
now,
for the way you look.
the fact that we're seeing things in the palm of our hands.
Yes.
Is that a conversation that you are very open about with the girls?
Well, yeah, I say, I've always been very careful not to ever sort of judge them by their physical appearance. And I've always made sure that they do not, if you know what I mean. Yeah. For example, I would never, ever mention that a certain food could make you put weight on or calorie count in foods, for example, because I just think that's unhealthy. Yeah, so I always teach my girls to sort of be kind about the way they judge themselves. I've never projected any images onto them that I think are unnatural and healthy to be able to maintain. I don't, of course we all tell our kids they're beautiful, but I wouldn't dream of sort of judging them in that way, because I think there's too much of that out there anyway, of sort of this generation. There's almost an expectation on them to be flawless for social media purposes.
Yep.
And I think that is a lot of pressure for them, so I wouldn't dream of adding any more pressure. They don't talk about that. I mean, obviously, Amber's way too young to be bothered about that, doesn't do social media.
Yeah.
But I've never spoke about that. I've never spoke about any sort of, I wouldn't dream of saying, oh, I've put weight on in these jeans. I don't discuss weight and stuff like that with them, body weight, body image. And I never have really, because, I worked in an industry where that was everything, is what you look like was the end product. You couldn't better yourself. You didn't have any control really over your career. The only way you could better yourself in your career was to sort of get more when you're a model. It's about how you look. But that sort of made me go the other way, because I've taught them, as much as I can, that, it's about, your beauty is about the content of your character. It's about how you are inside, and it's about the kindness that you demonstrate, because that will shine out of you and that will be beautiful. It's not about the outside. The outside will be beautiful if the inside is. Yeah. And so that's what's important, because, I've worked in the industry where you are judged solely on what you look like, and it's quite shallow. It's quite, and I never wanted to sort of project anything like that onto them, because I think it can be a little bit unhealthy. So,
and I worry with things like AI, face tuning, body tuning, all that stuff that people do. Like, nothing you see online is real.
I know, isn't it scary?
Yeah,
isn't it scary? I sometimes see people in the flesh and I go, I do a double take. I'm like, oh, looks nothing like you. Probably same for me. Without the big lights, as big as a car, which I usually have and love. Thank you very much. It helps a lot at this point.
You look beautiful, Tess.
No,
beautiful.
Honestly, I need a very big light at this point. But, it can be a bit much, can't it? All that.
Yeah.
And it is a concern with AI. Like, what is going to happen? No one's going to look like themselves. They're all going to exist virtually, but not in reality. I don't know where it ends.
How are you feeling about this next chapter of parenthood? The fact that at some point it might go back down to just you and Vernon. The girls might go, see you later, Mum and Dad.
I mean, I can't imagine them not being around, because everything that they are, everything they've done, everything about their lives has defined my life for the last 20 years since I've become a mum.
Yeah.
I define myself through them, because that is my life. Yeah. My life is arranging stuff around the, sometimes I feel like I'm a PA. That's what happens when they get older. You become their PA. You're also sort of nanny, housekeeper, driver, personal shopper, cook. But then you become PA as well, because you're arranging their social life as well. But all these different roles that we have, I mean, I love them all, really. I'm joking about it, but I wouldn't change it. And so it's weird, because my life has been defined by them. Everything. Your holidays are defined by school holidays for 20 years. And so it's...
And where you go.
Where you go, absolutely. Yeah. It's based on what they will enjoy.
Yeah. Who will have kids.
Yeah, exactly. You want other kids there so they have fun and they make friends, and it's all about that, really. And so, yes, I was going to say, if you remove them from the picture, then it looks like a very different picture, and I can't quite imagine it yet, but they're never really going to be removed from the picture. No. They're always coming back, and they're always going to be there. And Amber is still only 16, so I think it'll be quite a while yet. So potentially could have Amber for another 8 years at home. You're I'm just working it out.
You're edging a little bit closer, though.
Yeah, true. I mean?
And
Tell
you've
me
seen
about
how quickly it's happened with Phoebe.
Yeah.
So.
No, I know. Absolutely. Gosh, it's going to happen before I know it, and it's going to be really weird. I'm going to have way too much time on my hands. I'm going to become a yoga master.
Are you?
Hopefully. Because I'll be doing that in all my spare time. Running up hills and things, just trying to burn off the energy, because I'm someone who just can't stay still. That's why I like being a mum. It keeps me busy.
But it's that, isn't it? It's the busyness. If I suddenly have a day off, I'm discombobulated, because I just feel like, what do I do?
I'm not someone who goes for a day to the spa. No. I'm like thinking, what do my kids need me to do today? Do you know what I mean? So I'm always making up for that. If I've worked for a day or two, then I'm like, now this time I need to do more for them, because I was absent here. So I'm always trying to make up for that. So if I, remove them from that picture, I don't know. I mean, it could be quite lovely. Could be really great. I could be like booking weekend breaks with my girlfriends to Ibiza. How about that?
I'm loving this for you.
I might be back dancing on podiums before you know it.
Imagine you're going to actually be a contestant. You're going to be one of the celebs on Strictly Come Dancing, because you've resurrected your pole dancing career. A pro, just
I promise there were no polls. No polls, just podiums.
Sorry, I lowered the tone. I'm so sorry.
But I mean, it could be gorgeous to just sort of have the chance to do those things that I've never had a chance to do, because as a mum, I've never been away on breaks with my girlfriends. I think I've done it once in 20 years of being a mum, because they've needed me more, kind of thing, in my mind. And I've never put myself first. Yeah. I have not. I don't know many mums who do put themselves first. No, really.
I wonder if this period of time is one that you've actually got to make the most of once they go. Yeah. Because soon enough, it'll go like a flash, I imagine. It will. You might become a grandma.
Oh my God.
Do you know what I mean? Now, I know we're not there.
True.
We're not there. But what I'm saying is
we could be mere, like, we could be very close.
But you could, because you've only got a certain amount of years before that
true.
that could potentially happen.
Yeah.
So maybe
I wouldn't mind being
you've got to have a
younger
decade
grandma, like,
of just
fit enough.
cramming in all the stuff that you'd want to do.
Yeah.
Before,
Yeah. Because actually, if you think about it, it's probably going to happen within the decade.
Yeah.
So I need to get a move on. I'm going to start Googling short breaks.
There we go.
Short European breaks.
If you could write a letter.
All those places I haven't been to in the last 20 years. I just never go anywhere. I'm always here being a mum.
Well, you just need to make a list then.
Yes. I'm going to start making that list. Maybe do a little mood board.
Kind of like a bucket list, but not.
Yes.
Before I'm needed again
That's a lovely
list.
idea.
Yeah.
Right?
Quite so intensely.
Oh my goodness. That's so true.
Or just a me list. A list for me.
Things I'd love to do.
Yeah.
Like I'd love to go on a spa break or a wellness holiday. I'd love to do that. Or a little yoga holiday. Imagine.
Do you know what I would really like?
It'd be so nice.
I'd like a silent retreat.
Would you?
Yeah.
Just not to speak at
No.
all? That would drive me mad. I swear. I could not speak. I'd be talking to myself like day one. It's supposed to be very beneficial though.
Yeah.
But
When I go away on book tours, I go to my room, I leave it dark, I don't turn the radio on, I don't turn the TV on, I just sit there.
Yeah.
I love it.
And you're replenishing your supplies, aren't you? You're like, okay, I need to fill up again.
Just have no one want anything
and not
from
speak
me.
and have no one want anything from you. It's so true. Every time I hear the word mum, anywhere, I'd be in a crowded space, wherever. If I hear the word mum, I jump to attention. Who needs me? Who needs me?
But there's something,
I'm here.
There's something quite
Been on
lovely
call
about seeing
20 years.
You have. But there's something quite lovely about seeing other mums.
Yeah.
In that state where they're really needed with young ones and kind of going,
so
I've got you.
cute.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I see you.
absolutely.
I've been there.
I get it. Yeah. We've walked in your shoes and there is an understanding amongst us that is the great kind of bonder. It's the great leveler. We've been through it and we know what it takes to be a mum.
Absolutely.
And we're all just trying our best.
We are.
That's it, right? We're just trying to be the best mum we can be. We don't want to let our kids down. We don't want to drop any balls. We don't want to miss anything that's really important. We want to be there for every single milestone in their life. That's our job, right?
Yeah, absolutely. If you could write a letter on motherhood, who would it be to and what would you say?
Maybe to my daughters. And I would probably say, you will never know how much your mother loves you until you become a mother yourself. Because I think when you become a mum, you think, oh, my mum loved me this much. I knew she loved me, but I didn't realise it went this deep. Because as a mother, you would do anything for your kid.
Yeah.
They are your absolute priority. And there is no negotiating that. It begins and ends with them. So I'd write a letter to them and I'd say, just remember this love that you will experience as a mother is like no other. Nobody will ever love you as much as your mum loves you. Respect that. And, I think it would be to them. And, it will be the greatest role of your life and it will be the greatest love of your life. So get ready for the ride of being a mum. Yeah.
I love that. We end the podcast with you completing 3 sentences.
Oh.
The first one is being a mum means.
I think being a mum means unconditional love. Unshakable, unconditional love. You do anything for them.
Since having children, I
have slept less. Perhaps. Value sleep more than ever, still.
Does it get to a point now actually where they're teenagers and they're going out?
Yeah, and they have lions.
Sleeping.
They have lions. They sit there. They're in bed later than me on the weekends. Absolutely.
Do you stay up until they are home?
No, but I'm tracking them all the time.
Right. So
they
you're
allow
not
it.
sleeping
They allow it.
then.
This is not secret tracking. Life 360 is my friend. It's brilliant. It's such a good app, especially when they learn to drive because it tells you how fast they're driving.
Oh, really?
So you can monitor it. It's fantastic. I'm obsessed with that app.
That's
because when they start to drive, that's a whole new ball game to negotiate. You're like, and they made it. They're on a motorway. And you can see how fast they're going. So you're like, it's fine. They're doing 60. And they're there. I can sleep now. I remember when Phoebe would learn to drive and she was driving to school and it was really far. It was like a 45-minute drive and she had to go on a motorway. And she just learned to drive. I didn't go on a motorway for 10 years. And I remember and I would watch this app, and she'd leave the house at 7 because it's a long way. And I was watching it literally. And as soon as she arrived, I was literally shaking until she arrived. And then I put the phone down and just go, she made it. Because it's scary when they're, they're new drivers and they're in a car and it's like, all these things that you have to sort of go through. You got to look forward to.
I cannot wait. Cannot wait.
But, yeah.
So it's disrupting your sleep, I guess, in a different way.
Yeah.
But now in the mornings, now that they're sleeping, what are you busying yourself with now? Because I was busying myself with gardening now that they're sleeping, and then got a puppy.
Oh,
so
right.
What are you up at
Nice.
6 o'clock
Well,
for
I've got
now?
a business that I'm constantly... That's my other baby is the business, and that requires me hours and hours a day, first thing in the morning, last thing at night. It doesn't sleep.
Yeah.
And it's growing, and when it's really exciting, getting to be creative. And, I love building a business with my best friend. But it does consume a lot of my time. So I'm usually doing
nice
that.
About doing that
it's wonderful.
First thing then as well.
Well, I love doing that. Yeah, absolutely, because I enjoy it. It's enjoyable. It's really fulfilling. But that takes up most of my time.
Tess, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
One more sentence. I'm happy when?
My children are happy.
Of course you are.
As long as they are happy. Because if your kids are not happy, you cannot be happy. Right? So, I'm content when they are.
Tess, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
I love talking parenting. I could do it forever. It's my favourite subject, literally.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Pleasure.